Be confident, be bold, be authentic, but don't forget to take action. This is Ordinary to Badass, where our stories empower women to step into the spotlight of their own lives and pursue what they're truly passionate about. It's time to step into the arena and become more than just extraordinary. It's time to become a badass with your host, Marie Sonneman.
Welcome to Ordinary to Badass, episode number 16. In this episode, I talked to Sarah Tullos. Sarah is a power mentor, and she's helping women with self-acceptance and discovering what it is that they're passionate about. In this episode, we talk about giving yourself permission to be a badass, self-acceptance, self-confidence, and how to find joy in your current situation. Tune in, because I know that you're going to love this episode. Welcome to Ordinary to Badass. Whether you're ordinary or badass, I'm glad you're here. Today's guest is Sarah Tullos. Sarah, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
First off, before we go any further, I have got to ask you, do you consider yourself to be ordinary or badass?
Oh, I'm badass for sure.
I love it. Just own it.
Without a doubt. Yeah, I'm a badass.
Have you always felt that way?
No. I think deep down I have. I've always felt like there's something inside of me that's not ordinary, but then we all have that, that fear and the identity crisis of like, oh, maybe I am just ordinary, but ordinary is not even a bad thing either. So
right.
I think it's good to have a mix of both and be humble, but also just know that when you need to be, you are already a badass.
Yeah, perfect. And just kind of tap into it whenever needed.
Right, exactly.
So will you share with us a short bio so we can get to know you a little bit better?
Sure. So like you said, my name is Sarah. And I am, I guess you could say, the host of the Sarah Show. I am an entrepreneur, first and foremost. I am an EmpowerMentor. So I love to empower women to be their most badass self. And I'm also an aspiring comedian and public speaker. So whatever comes along with that, I am just ready for the ride.
So can you tell me a little bit more about the Sarah Show?
Sure. So the Sarah Show is actually pretty new. I rebranded myself from being more of a body positivity, body acceptance type, I guess, person. I don't know. Okay. Really promoting that really hard. To now I want to be a lot more than just that. So the Sarah Show just encompasses everything that I want to put out into the world. And it's so new right now, so there's not a whole lot out there, but it's a platform for me to grow. And I love to entertain, make people laugh, empower people. And I think all that can be done through the Sarah Show. Yeah,
I love that. So a lot of listeners, we struggle with body issues or body acceptance. What would you say to people that are struggling with that?
So I would say first and foremost, it's normal. A lot of people think that maybe they're the only one going through that, and you're not. Almost every single person has some type of body image issue, and it is the biggest thing you can do is just give yourself grace. And you can't go from hating your body to loving your body. You can't do it. It's not possible. Like overnight, it is possible to end up loving yourself, but right. Everybody wants to get to that end goal of just loving their body. And they do a lot of things in between that aren't going to get them there. So I like to tell people, what you need to focus on is not thinking about your body all the time, because it's super debilitating to not be comfortable in your own skin. You become unaware of what's going on around you in day-to-day life because you're constantly thinking about your body and how you look. And if you can just recognize when it's happening and shut it down, and you don't even have to go from, oh, I noticed that I'm hating this part of myself right now, so I need to love it. You don't even have to do that. You can just go from, okay, I'm noticing that I'm hating this right now. I need to kind of push it away and think about anything else.
So just get some space from it.
Yeah. And it frees up your brain to think about other things that, I'm not saying thinking about your body is not important, but you're missing a lot of important things by doing that all the time. So if you can free up some of the space in your brain, it allows you to be open to starting to accept your body.
So I've seen some of your like Instagram videos, and you're pretty darn funny. And you said you're going to be a comedian. Is there anything that you say to yourself that's kind of funny to kind of snap out of it?
Oh God. A lot. You should probably ask my husband that. It's funny you asked, because I have in my notes on my phone, every night I kind of go through this moment of like, who do you think you are type thing. And I've made it a habit to write down kind of like motivating myself. So I can actually read to you.
Yeah, I would love that.
Recent, let's see. So I've named it, it's called Read Me in all caps. Because like, when you're having a moment, I need you to read this. So I'm laughing at my stuff. The last thing I put in here, and this was, what's today, the 13th? So this was on the 11th. The last thing I put is, believe in yourself, damn it. So It's just like, get out of your own freaking head, dude, and just believe in yourself. So I like to kind of pep talk my stuff. And like the one before that was like, don't give up, idiot. You know, and It sounds like it's hard on myself, but it's not, because it's my humor.
Yeah.
But yeah, I talk to myself like I would like a sibling or a little sister or brother. Just get out of your own head. You can do it.
And here's what I love about that, and think that the O2B listeners can relate to, is that you're an empowerment coach, and you still have to remind yourself, to say these things to yourself. It doesn't always just come easy, but I like that you set reminders or something to look at to remind yourself that, of your different positive qualities.
Right. I think it's very important to do that and to put dates on them, because it's so liberating to look back and see what you said to yourself.
Oh yeah.
Years ago, and how far you've come.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's an actual step that I think we could take.
Definitely.
So can you share with us what you're like, a moment that you're most proud of accomplishing?
So far, and I'm very happy to say that I think I'm still very early in my journey. So there will be many more moments. But so far, what I'm most proud of is not going back to a 9-to-5 desk job. That it was part of my life for about 7 or 8 years, and it was comfortable.
Yeah.
So, but I knew that was not what I was meant to do with my life. And when I finally got out of it, I was terrified that I was gonna go back to it, and I haven't yet.
Right. And how long have you been out of it?
So I've been out of it for about 6 months now.
Oh, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the decision behind leaving your 9-to-5?
So a little backstory, I had been at this company for about 5 years, and it was incredibly stressful and not in alignment with what I knew my path was meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I just quit. I had no other job lined up. I had saved up enough money to get me by for a few months. And I just said, I can't do this anymore. And so I quit. And then about a month after that, they called me back. Said, we want you to come back, and we're going to give you a different position that we have created for you. And it was more of a creative position that I was kind of excited about. So I went back and got sucked into the same thing for 2 years. And I will say that the universe smacked me in the face because I got laid off.
Oh, goodness.
After 7 years of working at this company, I got laid off. And it was the biggest blessing that could have ever happened.
So how much notice did you have in advance that you're going to be laid off?
So I got lucky in the sense that, and again, you never know what really was going on behind closed doors. But my boss did let me know about a month ahead of time that they were going to be doing layoffs, and my position would most likely be gotten rid of. So I had about a month to kind of cope with it, figure out what I was going to do. And the biggest thing I told myself was, it doesn't matter what you do, as long as you don't go back to something like this.
Okay, so like panic didn't necessarily set in. Was it more like relief?
It was relief. It was relief, and that's how I knew that it was right. Because I, again, no backup plan. I, had applied for jobs, but I still felt very unaligned with working at any other company, working for anyone else's dream besides my own. And when she came to me and told me what was happening, I felt a weight lifted off my shoulders. Like, I don't have to quit again. Y'all are doing it for me.
Right.
Yeah.
So can you describe what that felt like when you were feeling like you weren't aligned?
So for a lot of people, it's different. The symptoms, I guess you could call it, but you just feel off. You feel like something is missing, but you can't quite pinpoint what it is. You're unsatisfied, you're unfulfilled. And I would always come home and tell my husband, this job is sucking the soul out of me. And I would always cry. Well, I cry all the time anyway, but
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that's not anything new, but I would always cry about the fact that I didn't feel as though I was helping others. I was only helping my boss to make her more money. And it just felt icky.
Right.
And for lack of a better word, it just felt gross. And I just knew, you just know that something's off. You just feel off balance. And so when, you're finally given that decision of, okay, you don't have to work here anymore, it's just a relief. Because you might not know exactly where you're going to go next, but it's not meant to be there.
Right. So I know people think that if you cry, you're not a badass, right? And I just think that's a stereotype that's out there. But I'm of the belief, like, feel what you feel your emotions, and it's more badass to kind of go through what you're feeling and process it than to try to be tough or shun it away. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I agree 100% with what you just said. I actually was posting on my Instagram stories a few weeks ago. I'm laughing because it cracks me up. I was on my way to a workout class and traffic was ridiculous. I ended up not making it because I couldn't get there quick enough. And so I pulled over and I just cried in my car. And I recorded it. I recorded it and I posted it on my Instagram stories. And it was hilarious because I was crying essentially over missing a workout class. But there's clearly deep-rooted, not even issues, but emotions that needed to come out. And that was the vehicle to let them out. And I put it on my stories because I wanted to let people know there's nothing shameful about crying. It's
Right.
needed. It is necessary for us to work through our emotions. And I used to be the type of person that felt shame from crying, so I never did.
Right.
And I was extremely negative and mean to myself and to others. And once I realized that when you cry, you're kind of like getting it out so you can move on. It was
Yes.
like a revelation, like, oh my God, I can cry and not feel like a loser.
Right.
I love crying.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's cleansing. Otherwise it comes out in other ways, if you're holding it in.
Exactly. Comes out
So,
in negative ways for sure.
right, right. So let's talk a little bit about your struggles. Tell us about a time when you gave up, but now you wish you wouldn't have.
So this was probably the hardest question. um, I would say that I gave up a singing career. That is what I had always wanted to do with my life since before I can remember. I wanted to be a singer.
Mm-hmm.
And I pursued it up until college, and I just kind of let it die. I let it dwindle, and I made excuses for why I couldn't go any further. And now that I think back on it, there was a time when I did regret it and I beat myself up about it. But now that I look back on it, I don't regret it because it just wasn't the right time. I wasn't ready. And I know that now. And I do wish that I had the mindset that I do now to be able to push through or to not beat myself up about it afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, and I was listening to your podcast earlier with Judy Carter.
Uh-huh.
And I like how she explained it about it's okay to quit. And that word is so stigmatized, quitting. But if it's not the right time, if it doesn't feel right, if it's just not there, it's okay because it frees you up to go try something else.
Totally.
So I think that's the big one that came to my mind.
So do you still have a calling to sing, or is it more something you just do kind of for fun and you're kind of passionate about what you're doing now? Or what are your thoughts on that?
So I think music will always be a part of what I do, whether it be professionally or just me singing on my Instagram story or, one day I will have an actual Sarah show.
Uh-huh.
And I'll probably sing on there too. But I think I've learned to not take it so seriously because I would beat myself up about, missing a note or not singing as passionately as I should have, anything like that.
Yeah.
And it made it not enjoyable. And so now I'm getting back to actually just enjoying singing and goofing around with it, not worrying about people judging me if it doesn't sound perfect. So I'm playing around with it still. It'll always be in my life. And I'm letting it be something happy.
Right. And I mean, people are going to judge you no matter what you do, right? So you might as well just do what you want to do and forget what they're thinking because somebody's always going to judge you.
Oh, exactly. Totally.
So can you share with us a story about one of the hardships you faced to get to where you are now?
So I would say, and this is very specific to my personality, but one of the biggest hardships I've faced and I still face is self-sabotage because I get very excited about certain things, certain passions, and the second one thing goes wrong, I sabotage it. And I come up with any excuse to not go further. I overthink it to the point of being sick of it, whatever it may be. I'm still trying to overcome that. I'm getting better at it, but being able to recognize it and realize when I'm doing it is huge for me. and being able to shift that to something more positive. So probably biggest hardship, and probably will always be my biggest hardship, is self-sabotage.
What does self-sabotage sound like to you? Or what is it that you're kind of saying yourself or doing? And then what do you say to yourself to get over it?
So self-sabotage, if I had to say it was like a different person or an alter ego of mine, it tells me, why did you ever think that you were good enough or worthy enough to do this specific thing? It is like a bully. It will say, well, you aren't getting any success with this so far. It could be 2 days. I could have started a venture and it could be 2 days in and I'll have, crickets, and my self-sabotage will be like, see, told you, you've wasted this much time. Why are you going to go forward now? And a way that I've been able to recognize it is when something starts to feel hard. Because when you're excited about something, at first it just flows. And then you're always going to have roadblocks. So when a roadblock comes is when I know self-sabotage is coming as well. So I just have to be prepared to listen to it, first of all, acknowledge it, and then say, you're not my reality. And
I love that.
Yeah, because everything that we think is what becomes our reality.
Yeah.
So as long as you can acknowledge that something isn't serving you, and it's hard to learn how to do that, but if you tie it to, like I said, when I know roadblock is coming, I also know that self-sabotage is. So if you can tie it to something that you know is also constant with that struggle, then it's easier for you to recognize when it's going to happen.
Yes, I think it's so important to fight back or to say something back to yourself. And so I love how you said, you're not my reality, because we definitely need to have phrases to say to ourselves to get out of that mode of perpetually, talking down to ourselves or going down a rabbit hole. So I really appreciate that. So are you married or a parent?
I am married, and
Okay.
I'm a parent to 2 very large basset hounds.
Love it. What are their names?
Copper and Cassius Clay.
Cute. So have you ever struggled with societal norms? Like, you're married, do people pressure you to have kids, anything like that?
All the time.
How do you deal with that?
I used to be nicer about it, and I started to get a little more blunt with it.
Uh-huh.
And I know that people are coming from a place of good,
Yeah.
usually. But I do want to make it known when people ask these types of questions, like when we were still dating, when are you going to get married? Or now, when are you going to have kids? I like to tell them those things are not what identify success for me. So it just puts it in their head that, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that, or maybe I should think about it before I say it again. And it doesn't offend me, because I know that that's just society. And I think we are growing and progressing to a place where that's not going to be as common anymore to ask those type of questions. But I think it's okay to call people out and say, you know what, I appreciate that you want that for me, but I have other things in my life that I'm pursuing and that I value towards my success and my happiness more than being married or having children right now.
Yeah. I like your answer. I think it's probably a better way of saying it than I do. Like, I'll just switch it up and I'll be like, I'm not having kids, or I'm not doing it.
Right.
Just to like shut it down.
Yes, I have said that a couple times just to see what the reaction was. And it's normally not a good reaction, but It's still fun.
Yeah, it can be fun, but I think your way of saying it at least gets the point across a little bit better. Like, that's not what defines me,
Exactly.
So let's talk a little bit about your mindset. Can you tell me about your mindset and how it has led to your badassery?
So my mindset is pretty new. I would say within the last 2 or 3 years, I've really had a huge mindset shift. I can't trace it back to a specific moment that really did it for me. I wish I could, so I could share it with everyone and be like, go do this.
Yes.
But my mindset now is just incredibly open. And I think that is so important, just in life and as being a human being, because it's messy business trying to be a human being.
Yes.
And just being open to whatever comes your way, to different types of people, different types of situations. And since being more open, it has brought me opportunities that I never saw before. And I say never saw because I'm sure they were there, but I couldn't see them because I was focused on too much on judging myself or hating the current situation that I was in, just being negative all around. So I would just say that being completely open has led to me being so badass.
So what's an example of something that you might have missed before, but now you noticed it kind of because of your open mind?
I mean, a perfect example would be this podcast. Being asked to be on a podcast. I have always tried to do things myself and not even look for other opportunities or help or being a part of someone else's dream, to further teach me how to go about certain things. So I'm sure before people would have asked me to come on their podcast or anything or collaborate in any way, but I would have never seen it and I would have never allowed it because I didn't want to talk to other people. I didn't want to help other people or have other people help me. I was very closed off to that, and being open to just other people's lives and realizing that we're all on a journey and that we can help each other is huge. And I would have never seen that or been open to that if I hadn't opened up my mind.
Do you think that's at all related to like you having more, just, it sounds like you have more overall self-confidence?
I definitely do.
And I feel like that makes a difference. Like it helps you to feel more comfortable talking to people. And I don't know if that played a role at all for you.
No, you are 100% correct. I, like we said before, used to be more on the body acceptance playing field. And the reason I is because I was very self-conscious of myself, my personality, my body, everything. And it kept me from doing anything, from leaving my house, from leaving my office at work, from attending family and friends parties, anything. It kept me from that. And to open up about it and share my story to other people helped me to become more confident in myself, because you realize everyone is going through it. Everyone is dealing with something very similar. And I really do believe that when you help other people with stuff that you're struggling with, it helps you.
Absolutely. And I know since starting Ordinary to Badass, it's like, if I'm struggling with confidence or struggling with, it's like, I'm not going to tell everybody else something that I'm not willing to do myself, so I'm more likely to snap out of it or put myself in my place, so to speak, because, it's not healthy for me. And if I'm telling everybody else it's not healthy for them, then I'm not going to do it on the backside.
Agreed. Totally. It is so much easier to come into your badassness when you're helping others to overcome your own struggles. And when you're just being open about everything that you're dealing with, the opportunities come to you. They really do.
So do you have any tips or tricks to help us improve our mindset? And maybe that's it, help and teach, but if you have anything else.
So I would say writing things down. Writing things down has been huge for me. And I just started doing it not too long ago because we keep so much in our heads. Our heads are, if any of you listening are like me, I overthink everything. I have a million things floating around in my brain at once. And to just write it down clears up so much space in my brain for anything. I mean, I'll forget like what I ate for lunch because I've got so much going on in my head. And a lot of it is unnecessary. A lot of it is totally unnecessary. And if you can write it out, it's almost like physically getting it out of your brain so you can free up that space for something more productive. So I think that's a huge tip for people, is just to write it down. It doesn't have to be like a diary or, super detailed or whatever. Just however you have to get it out, just get it out and on to something and move on.
Yeah, I think kind of like you said, it takes up less brain space, less that you have to think about, or at least you feel like you got it out. If it's something, just some emotion or something you're feeling, at least just jot it down and get it out of your head,
Right. Get it out.
Yes, totally. So can you share one of the greatest mindset hacks for confidence and self-esteem?
For confidence and self-esteem, honestly, I would say judgment. You have to stop judging others and in turn stop judging yourself. And that can kind of go either way. You can try to stop judging yourself first, and it will help you to stop judging others. Or you can focus on not judging others as much, and you'll realize that you don't think about yourself as much as you used to. So I like to tell people, when you recognize that you're about to judge someone for something, I need you to jot it down. You need to make a note of it, because you have to realize how much you're doing it and what you're doing it towards. And so it makes you become self-aware. And then in turn, you can start to put your brain on a different track whenever you notice that happening. So I think it is very easy to go from self-conscious to self-aware. But to do that, you have to take the time to make note of when you're doing these bad habits. And so if you're about to judge a coworker for what they're wearing, something as simple as that. Okay, notice that you're doing it. Go write it down in your notes on your phone, on a sticky note, whatever you want to do. And then a week later, come back to those notes and take an assessment of how much you're doing it, what you're doing it on. And then that way, when it starts to happen, it kind of like a light bulb goes off in your brain, like, oh no, I'm doing it again. You can be self-aware, and then you can replace that feeling with something more loving. Like, you know what? I might not totally love what they're wearing, but I love that they're confident in what they're wearing. You can shift it to be something more self-serving to you. And then in turn, you're radiating that kindness to everyone else. And then you'll wake up one day and realize you're not as self-conscious as you were. And you're also just happier because you're not judging or talking shit about all your coworkers.
Yeah. And I think kind of as you were saying that, I was thinking, oftentimes I think we put our own thoughts onto other people. Like we might be judging them for being overweight, but maybe that's because we're insecure about our own weight and we don't want to look over, you know what I mean? But it's like what we're focusing on for ourselves is sometimes what we put on other people or notice about other people.
We are mirrors. Whenever we are upset with someone about something, it's because that's something that we are upset about with ourselves.
Totally.
Or something that we're uncomfortable with within ourselves.
Right.
So yeah, knowing that whatever you are judging in someone else is actually something that you're judging in yourself can definitely help to shift that mindset.
Right. And ask yourself maybe some important questions,
Right? Like what can you work on within yourself before you start to
Yep.
About it.
Love that.
Karen over there, you know.
So do you have a mantra or meditation practice?
So I do meditate occasionally. I would love to do it more. And I guess you could call it a form of meditation, but like I said, just writing things down, taking mental notes. And then I like to tell people, because a lot of people take notes. A lot of people have journals. Like, that's very popular right now. And I think it's great, but we don't often look back at what we've said or what we've written down. And I think it can be very kind of like meditation to look back and see how far you've come. So that's one of the big things for me, is writing down your thoughts and looking back at them.
Yeah, I think that that's definitely useful, because you're not always going to be in the same frame of mind.
Oh, yeah.
But like you said a couple times, it's like looking at where you are now and where you've come from. And there is room to kind of change.
Yes, definitely.
So let's talk a little bit about tips to help the females in the audience out. If you could share one tip that you wish every female knew about, what would it be?
I would say that fear is bullshit. Fear is an illusion that we make up. Fear is not reality. Fear holds us back from so many things. And it's useful in terms of our fight or flight brains, needing to know when something is dangerous to our life, our health. That's an important trait to have. But we also have to realize it's overstimulated in this current day and age, because everything is scary to us now.
Right.
There's social media is everywhere. You can't escape what's going on around you, and it tricks you to believing that you're going to be hurt. Fear is fake. You can totally do whatever it is that fear is holding you back from, but you have to acknowledge that the fear is not real. It's totally made up by you.
Have you ever heard the acronym for fear, like false evidence appearing real?
Yes.
Yeah, I love that.
It's perfect. It explains it perfectly.
So how do you get inspired and stay motivated?
So this one's a tough one, because I don't necessarily believe in motivation. I believe in the law of motion. So if you are in an upswing, you need to take advantage of it as much as you can and work as hard as you can when you feel that amazing magic energy. Don't take it for granted, because it doesn't last. Our emotions are not linear. They are always moving. So as long as you are continuously moving and taking steps towards what you're wanting to do, they can be the tiniest steps ever. But as long as you're moving forward, then you don't necessarily need to focus on having motivation, because you're not going to have it all the time. You just need to focus on being consistent, showing up for yourself. And when you do have those down days, it's inevitably going to happen. We all
Totally.
have. Being aware that it's not going to last forever, and sticking to the steps that you do when you're in those crazy exciting moments, sticking to those when you're in your down days is the most important thing that you can do, because motivation is not for everybody. Not everybody has it. I don't. I really don't.
Yeah, and I think we all want the quick, easy win. Like, that's what everybody's just dying for. Like, oh, I just want it to be different tomorrow. But really, it's kind of being consistent and persistent over time that gets you there.
Right. Definitely.
So let's talk a little bit about badass advice, and this is more rapid fire. So what was your turning point for accomplishing your goals and becoming a badass?
Giving myself permission to be a badass. A lot of us are waiting for permission, and you can give it to yourself. You just need to do it.
I love that. Do you have a morning routine or evening routine that you can share with us?
I do, and it's not good.
Share anyway.
I should really work on that. So I wake up and I immediately go make coffee and oatmeal. That's without fail every single morning. And one thing that I have been doing that I kind of enjoy, which is kind of weird, while I'm making my oatmeal and letting the coffee brew, I do the dishes. And it gives me about 5-10 minutes to kind of let my brain start to think about, okay, how do we want to show up today? It's like a mindless activity, but it gets you moving and it gives you the chance to set your intentions for the day. And then at night, I take an extremely hot shower for extremely way too long. I get yelled at by my husband. And then I watch The Office for the 12th time. And I don't pay attention to a single second of it because my brain is going crazy, but it's at least a lighthearted and funny show that will make me not have bad dreams.
There you go. And I think it's nice to be able to turn off sometimes, and if it's something funny. What was that? Sorry. You have to shut off your brain at some point. Totally. So what's one thing that you've learned from a woman in your life?
So the most prominent woman in my life is my mother, like a lot of people. She raised me on her own. And what I learned from her is that we as women are incredibly resilient. We can do anything. And we don't often go out and try to do anything. We just have things thrown at us and we make it work. So if we can do that, if we can overcome these obstacles that are thrown our way, then why can't we overcome obstacles that we put ourselves in? So I learned from her that as long as you're willing to put in the work, why not? You can do absolutely anything.
Yeah. And I think it's important to note, like, what our parents say to us matters, and it sinks in even from a young age.
Oh, it sure does.
Can you share a habit or a practice that has contributed to your success?
I would say a habit. I'll give you two. So one that I have tried to keep up with consistently because it really, really helps me is moving my body. And I don't say exercise because that can be a trigger word for some people. A lot of people exercise to change their aesthetics. And I think it's important to move your body because our bodies are meant to be moved. And it helps you metabolize. And I say metabolize, and I don't mean calories. It helps you metabolize your thoughts. So if you can just get out and go for a walk or book a workout class, if you enjoy it, do some type of movement that you enjoy, and you'll notice that your mind gets more sharp and you can kind of compartmentalize certain thoughts that you couldn't before. And it's all because you're moving your body. And I would say the second one is to give yourself grace. I used to be extremely hard on myself to the point of, constant self-sabotaging, like I said before, and I still deal with that occasionally today. But being able to check in with myself on a minute-to-minute basis, check in with myself, recognize what I'm thinking, how I'm feeling, what, when, where, how, why, all those questions, questioning myself all the time, but not to the point of, why are you doing that? To the point of, okay, now I understand why you're thinking this way, and it's okay. And to let yourself know that it's okay to be where you are, to think what you're thinking, to do what you're doing, just to give yourself that grace and to tell yourself you're where you're meant to be. your feelings are valid. It is okay is huge. It's like you're reparenting yourself. That's what adulting is just reparenting yourself.
Right.
But to check in constantly and give yourself grace is huge.
So are you just asking yourself the questions then to understand where that thought's coming from?
Yeah. So even if you're feeling great, if you're feeling happy, check in with yourself and say, okay, why? Why are you feeling happy? Because sometimes our happiness is not necessarily in alignment with where it should be. Sometimes we're happy because it's driven by outside forces like money or, attention or anything like that. So to constantly check in and say, okay, why are you feeling this way? What made you feel this way? And then it just helps your personal development day to day to be able to talk to yourself in the least creepy way or in a creepy way.
It's up to you.
Yeah, whatever you want to do, but to talk to yourself as a human being and say, like, picture yourself as a child is kind of how I started to do it. And how would I talk to my own child when they're having a meltdown or when they're super excited? You ask them, okay, why are you feeling this way? What happened? And then assess it, and you know how to cope with it better when it comes around the next time.
So good. So what do you wish everyone knew about as it comes to confidence and overcoming your obstacles?
So I wish that everyone knew that you can't be happy in the future if you're not happy now. So if you're in a career that you hate, if you're in a relationship that you don't like, anything, if you're not happy now, you're not going to get happy later. You have to learn how to find joy in your current situation. I'm not saying stay in a shitty relationship, obviously, but find a way to make yourself happy. And if it's leaving that relationship, then you got to do it, because you attract what you are. If you're unhappy, if you're negative, if you're hateful, that is what will come to you. And if you can find a way to find the tiniest bit of joy in your day-to-day life, that doesn't mean you're content where you are. It just means you're going to start attracting the things that you really want and the things that you're really in alignment with. So being happy where you currently are and finding joy in the shittiness, like in the journey, because the journey is it. Like, there's no end goal. We all have this end goal, this end idea, but it never is really what you think it's going to be. So right. The journey is where it's at. And if you can't find some kind of comfort in the discomfort, then you're always going to be struggling. So if you can find any way to be comfortable not being comfortable, then you're golden.
So good. I love that. Yeah. I mean, if you're not happy now, like it's hard to be happy ever.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but like I've been at really thin points and I wasn't happy with my body, but I would look at pictures and be like, oh, I'd die to be that weight now, but yes. If you weren't happy at your thinnest, you're not going to be happy. I don't know. I just think, like what you said, you have to be happy now.
Right.
How often do you read? And can you please recommend a book and share why?
So I try to read every day. I'm not good at finishing books. I'm good at starting them and then like going back to them later. Kind of like Netflix shows, you
right.
Listen to a few episodes and then you move on to another one. But I will say that an incredible book that I think everyone could benefit from is Super Attractor by Gabby Bernstein. She is just incredibly aligned with everything that she wants in life, and she teaches you how to do the same. And I suggest getting the audio version because her voice is oddly soothing and it just makes the experience that much greater.
So let's end with a tip to encourage women who are in the arena fighting for the life that they want, and share how the audience can connect with you.
So a tip to encourage women: look around you. Look at the people that you look up to and realize that if they can do it, so can you. Stop being scared. Just take the leap. You can pivot once you're in it. And just know that all of you are so badass and you're allowed to be. So give yourself the permission to be badass. And where you can find me mainly is on Instagram. So the Sarah Show 2_, because someone else has the Sarah Show.
Where are the underscores at?
After the Sarah Show.
Okay.
So the Sarah Show __. And I'm currently open for enrollment. I don't know if it will still be open once this airs. For my Dream Doers Empowerment Program. It's one-on-one coaching for 12 weeks to help all you badass women get to that place that you can't stop dreaming about. So the link is in my Instagram bio. If it's not there once this airs, I'm sure I will be promoting some other type of service, but I am always down to just connect, talk, help however I can. So reach out.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much, Sarah. I've enjoyed having you on the show and you've been a total badass.
Thank you. This has been amazing.
Yeah, it's been so much fun. With that, we'll end our show. And to all the badass women out there staying in the arena, wherever you are, whatever you are doing, own it and get after it. Thank you for listening to this episode of the show. As a newer podcaster, I would be so grateful if you went over to iTunes and left a review. That way, people just like you can learn about the show and become a listener. Also, I would love for you to screenshot your review and send it to me over on Instagram @ordinary2badass. So that way I can make sure to thank you. I'm so appreciative of you. Talk to you soon, friend.
Now that you've listened to this episode of Ordinary to Badass, we want to hear from you. Go to our website, ordinarytobadass.com/podcast, and submit your own experience on how you took your life from ordinary to badass and get the chance to be on a future spotlight episode of the show. That's ordinarytobadass.com/podcast. While you're waiting for the next episode of the show, wipe off the sweat, dust off the dirt, and get back in the arena.